Hello, my name is SIVAROU. I am year 1 medical student. Today, I am going to be presenting about the human skeletal system. So these are the contents of my presentation today. First off, the introduction, the types, anatomy, and also physiology of bones, the type of bone cells, how the bone forms and also repairs, as well as bone-related disease. So, what parts of the human body are considered as the skeletal system? First of all, we have bones, which are the framework of the body. Next, we have joints, a point at where two or more bones meet. Next, there's also cartilage, which absorbs impact in joints and reduce friction between bones. Then, we also have ligaments, which connects from bone to bone, and also tendons, which connects from muscles to bones. So here are the type of bones. First of all, we have long bones, which for example is the femur and also the humerus. We also have short bones. Short bones are tiny bones, for example, at the tarsal, and another example can also include carpals at the hand. We also have flat bones, which the sternum is classified under. Then irregular bones, which has a different shape, such as the vertebra. Then there's also sesamoid bones, such as the patella, as well as pneumatic bones, for example, the maxilla. Moving on to the anatomy of the bone, there are typically four main parts of the bone. Let's start over here with the compact bone. So this is the compact layer, which is basically the outer layer of the bone. And then next, we also have spongy layer, which is considered the inside over here. The compact bone is typically heavy and tough, which functions as structural support and also stores and releases calcium. The spongy layer, however, is light, surrounded by the compact bone, and also functions in blood cell production. Next, there is the periosteum layer over here. It is the sheet outside your bones that supplies them with blood, nerves, and cells which help them grow and heal. We will talk more about the cells later on. Next, there is also the endosteum, which is a membrane that lines the center of your bones, which contains the bone marrow. This endosteum plays a role in deposition of calcium in the matrix. So here are three extra parts. Firstly is the epiphysis, or up here, a point where the secondary ossification occurs. Apart from up here, it's also down here, basically at the edge of every bone. Then we also have the metaphysis, which is the part of the long bone that grows during development. Okay. Lastly, there's diaphysis, which is the central shaft of any long bone. Now, physiology of the bones. So here are a few functions of the bones. Firstly, as support and also structure. Bones form the rigid frameworks of body, which provides the shape and support to tissues and organs. They maintain posture and act as a base for soft tissue attachment. Next, bones also function for movement. Bones work the muscles, tendons, and joints to facilitate movements. So as you can see from this picture here, this skeleton is able to move his arms in such a way. The bones also function to provide shape to our body. Our facial features are partly determined by the shape of facial bones. So as you can see here, the shape of his face is as such thanks to the skull. Next, our bones also function as protection, which protects vital organs. So for example, the skull protects the brain, the rib cage shields the heart and the lungs, and also the vertebra, which is the most important one, that safeguards the spinal cord. Our bones also function in blood cell production. In the bone marrow, red blood cells, white blood cells, and also platelets are produced. Lastly, the bones also function as shock absorbers. So for example, like when they are walking or jogging, this cartilage acts as a good shock absorber. Okay. Now moving on to the bone cells. So there are four bone cells: osteogenic cells, osteoblasts, osteocytes, and also osteoclasts. These four cells are located at the endosteum layer and also the cellular layer of periosteum. The osteogenic cells are stem cells of bone, which will form osteoblasts, which are premature form of the bone cells, which is involved in bone formation. Osteocytes are the mature version of bone cells, which maintain mineral concentration of matrix. Osteoclast is involved in uh, bone breakdown and also reabsorption of old bone cells. Let's talk about how the bone forms. Firstly, mesenchymal cells will differentiate into chondrocytes. The cartilage model of the future shape and the perichondrium will start to form. Capillaries start to penetrate the cartilage. Perichondrium transforms into periosteum. Periosteal collar develops and the primary ossification center right here will start to develop. Cartilage and chondrocytes will continue to grow at ends of the bone, which will cause elongation of the bone. And then the secondary ossification center will start to develop as well. Usually, this process happens after birth. The cartilage remains at epiphyseal growth plate and at joint surfaces such as the articular cartilages, as mentioned earlier. So this formation is known as endochondral ossification. However, there is also another form of ossification known as intramembranous ossification. That process involves mesenchyme cells which differentiates directly into osteoblasts, which produces the osteoid matrix and quickly calcifies. The bones that are formed in this ossification method are mostly flat bones of the skull, mandible, maxilla, and also the clavicle. Moving on, let's talk about how the bone repairs itself if it ever encounters a fracture. Firstly, blood vessels which are torn within the fracture releases blood which then clots to produce large fracture hematoma. The hematoma is then gradually removed by macrophages and replaced by fibrocartilaginous callus. This is a soft callus, which is a mass of procallus tissue rich in collagen and fibroblasts. In the next few weeks, the soft fibrocartilaginous callus is gradually replaced by trabeculae of primary bone, which then forms the hard callus throughout the original area of fracture. The primary bone is finally remodeled as a compact and cancellous bone in continuity with the adjacent uninjured areas. Next, the diseases related to bones. So first of all, we have osteoarthritis, which is a degenerative joint disease characterized by the gradual breakdown of cartilage in joints, leading to pain, stiffness, and reduced mobility. So look at the picture here. This is an example of a healthy knee joint. And here is an example of a person who is experiencing osteoarthritis. There is cartilage loss. So what are the causes of osteoarthritis? First of all, age. The risk increases with age as cartilage naturally wears down over time. Next, obesity. Excess body weight places additional stress on weight-bearing joints, contributing to cartilage breakdown. Although osteoarthritis cannot be cured, there are multiple things a person can do to reduce the impact of osteoarthritis. First of all, they should have lifestyle modification. They must include exercise into their daily life. Low-impact activities like swimming or cycling help strengthening the muscles and improve flexibility at the joint. They can also use braces or arthritic devices to reduce strain when conducting movement. Next, rickets. Rickets affects bone development in children, causing the bones to become soft, weak, and prone to deformities. So here is a healthy bone of a leg, and here are areas where rickets will impact the development of bone in children. So what are the causes of rickets? First of all, vitamin D deficiency. Poor dietary intake of vitamin D. For example, fortified foods or fatty fish. And also, calcium or phosphate deficiency. Low levels of these minerals can also contribute to poor bone mineralization. So how do people overcome rickets? First of all, they have to improve their diet. They have to increase their consumption of vitamin D-rich foods and also foods which contain calcium and phosphate. They can also ensure that they have enough sunlight exposure. As we know, sunlight contributes to natural vitamin D synthesis in the body. So that's all from me. Thank you.